Hi friends, welcome to Books and Crafts. My name is Martyna, and in today's video I would like to share with you my August TBR. So I am not really a TBR person. This is going to be my first attempt at making and sticking to a TBR, but I would really like to introduce some kind of structure and some kind of discipline in my reading, in that I focus on finishing series and not starting all of the new series, and I want to make sure I read diversely and I read a lot of female authors. And so for this month I decided to create a few categories of books that I would like to read, and also within the categories I'm going to talk about more than one book. So this is to kind of accommodate the fact that I am a mood reader, so I do want to read a book from this category, so for instance like a female author or a BIPOC author, but I also don't want to be too strict with deciding which book I am going to be in a mood for in August. And so all of the books that I'm going to be mentioning today, and also all of the chapters for this video, are going to be listed in the description box. But without further ado, let's start with the books. And the first category is series continuation. In this one I have 3 books that I may like to get to, and the first one is Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb. This is book 3 in her Life Ship Traders trilogy, which starts with Ship of Magic, and I really enjoy this trilogy, but I have not picked this book yet. I would usually probably pick it up right when I finish the book 2, because I really love the book 2, but because I've heard that there is some sexual assault and some gaslighting in this book, I just was waiting for when I'm in a right headspace to pick it up, so maybe this will be in August. But this is an incredibly imaginative trilogy with Robin Hobb's beautiful writing and amazing characters, in which we are following this trader family who have what is called in this world a life ship, and a life ship is a ship that is made from wizard wood, from magic wood, and the idea is that when 3 generations of captains die on the deck of the ship awakens, quickens, and is now a sentient being. And so we are following so many different characters. This is Robin Hobb's multi-POV work. We have a lot of character, we have amazing family dynamics, we have very interesting magic. There is so much to this series that I love. Like I said, I am just waiting for a perfect moment to pick up this conclusion. And the next book that I might like to pick up as a series continuation is Demon in White by Christopher Rocchio, and this is book 3 in his Sun Eater series. Sun Eater is quickly becoming one of my favorite, and this one really does not want to stay in the dust jacket, but Sun Eater is quickly becoming one of my absolutely favorite sci-fi but also like sci-fantasy series of all time. This is such a broad tale. There is so much care and attention to detail when it comes to world building. We have some alien races in this book which were again constructed with so much care. We have rich history, rich culture, a lot of talk about language and linguistics and use of different words and pronouns. There is so much I love about this book. And so at the beginning of July I read book 2, which is Howling Dog, and I am really excited about getting to this one, but because this one is a big book and it's also quite dense with the writing. I love Christopher Rocchio's writing, it's very beautiful, but it's quite dense and I read it quite slowly. I don't know if I'm going to be in a mood for it in August, because I've been kind of craving some more quicker reads, something to make me feel accomplished. So yeah, we will see. And the last book that I am considering for this category is Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. This is book 2 in his Arc of Scythe trilogy. Now I read Scythe book 1 a long time ago, I think definitely last year, and I have not yet continued with this story, even though I enjoyed so much about this, but I also didn't really like some of our main characters. I also felt that while the concept of this world is so interesting, the characters felt really young and it read a little bit too young for my taste, but I do want to continue. I hear the focus shifts a little bit in the next two books in this trilogy. So in the first one, we are in a world, in a future where humans conquered death. Humans no longer have to die. Every disease is curable. If you die in an accident, they can bring you back really easily. And it's also a very technologically developed world. But to control the population, there is this group of people called scythes, and their duty is to glean or pretty much kill some of the people to make sure the population growth does not get out of control. And we are following two young characters who become apprentices to one of the scythes. I really enjoyed the kind of the philosophical aspects of this, the musings about what is there for humans to be excited about if they have everything, and how it would be to live in a world where there is no death. So this was very interesting to read about, and yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing with this. This is also not that long, so I might actually get to it in August. The second category, which I am really excited about, is female author, and here I have again 3 books to consider. The first of them is Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Marillier. I have not yet read anything by this author, but from what I've heard about her books, they are supposed to be very beautiful, with beautiful writing and settings and kind of like fairy tale feel. So in this we are following Sorka, who is the 7th child of her parents and the only daughter. Now her mother passes away and her father remarries, but the woman that he remarries bewitches her brothers and casts a spell, binds them with a spell, and the only person who can lift this spell is Sorka. However, there is a catch, because if Sorka speaks even one word, she will be taken by the fairy folk to their queen, the Lady of the Forest, and she will lose her brothers forever. So from what I've heard about this particular book, we have a beautiful forest setting. This is, I believe, an actual fairy tale retelling. Prose is supposed to be very beautiful, and I am really excited about getting to this one. However, if I don't feel like it, I have 2 books that are kind of my comfort reads and that I am looking forward to rereading very much, and these are Anne of Green Gables and Emily of New Moon, both by Ellen Montgomery. These are my absolute childhood favorites, and I would love to reread them and annotate them, and they both give me such a cozy feel. So if I feel a little bit like slumpy among all of the other big fantasy books, I might just pick one of them. I haven't decided which one I would prefer to reread first. The next category is a BIPOC author, and actually both of the books that I have for this category could also apply to the female author and to the series continuation. So I have here The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin. This is the sequel to the 5th season, which was a book I read 2 months ago, I believe, and absolutely fell in love with. This is an incredibly unique sci-fantasy story in which we are set in this world which pretty much tries to destroy itself every few hundreds of years in an event called the 5th season, and natural phenomena such as earthquakes and tsunamis and volcanic eruptions are pretty much daily occurrences in this world, and we are following a few characters who are trying to navigate the world ending and also their own personal stories. The first book was heartbreaking, beautiful, and I am both excited and scared to get to this second one soon. And the other book for me in this category, and I think I really want to get to this one next month, is The Burning God by R.F. Kuang, which is the third and concluding book to the Poppy War series. If I said I was scared about the Obelisk Gate, I am terrified about what's going to happen in this one. I'm afraid to have my heart broken, but I'm also like looking forward to it. So The Poppy War is a historical fantasy retelling actual events from the Chinese history, and it's very much war-centric. We are following Rin, who is a war orphan, and her adoptive parents or her foster family decides to marry her off to a much older man. And to escape this fate, Rin studies very hard and gets to a very prestigious war academy. Now very quickly war ensues, and Rin and her classmates all have to put their skills into practice in actual warfare and also confront what they thought war would be like with the atrocities of war that they encounter. And it is in times very hard to read. R.F. Kuang does not shy away from describing the atrocities of war, but it's also an incredible character study. I think characters and their interactions and also the way they deal with trauma is my favorite part of the series. It's an incredible series and I am very excited to get to this conclusion. Now for the next category, I don't actually have physical books of these yet, but the next category is 2022 release, and because I've been kind of craving some more cozy, whimsical tales recently, I think I'm going to go with either Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry or with Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. So Legends and Lattes is supposed to be this very cozy high fantasy with low stakes, where a mercenary orc decides to quit her life of war and open a coffee shop, and it sounds like a perfectly adorable and wholesome read. I've heard amazing reviews about this one, and Half a Soul is a Regency romance but with a dash of magic. And I really love the pitch line for this, which says Bridgerton meets house-moving castle in this enchanting historical fantasy where the only thing more meddlesome than fairies is a marriage-minded mother. So it sounds like a perfect combination of maybe Jane Austen-like vibes with some whimsy and magic. And last but not least, we have the backlist book. So because I've joined BookTube, even as a viewer not that long ago, I have a huge backlist TBR of books that I would love to get to. So for this one, I'm going to go with The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu, which is a Chinese-inspired historical fantasy. This has been getting so much buzz on BookTube lately. From what I know, it is very political. We are following two characters from different social classes who form an unlikely friendship. However, when the emperor of this world dies, they find themselves as leaders of opposing political factions. The other strong contender for this category is again a Asian-inspired fantasy, which is The Sword of Kaigen by Emma Wang. I have heard such incredible things about this book. So this is a standalone fantasy novel in which we are following members of a family as they navigate war. I hear there is a lot of talk about motherhood, about the mother-son relationship. This is again quite war-centric, and I've heard this has an interesting structure in which the climax of the story happens somewhere in the middle, not towards the end, and then for the second part of the book we are dealing with the emotions and trauma of the characters. This sounds so right up my alley. I love character-driven stories in which we are examining their emotions and post-traumatic stress. Those are topics that really interest me, so I think this might be an amazing book. So those were all the books that I am for sure planning to choose from in the month of August. I may get to some more because I usually read more than 5 books per month, so I will either choose more from this pile or just some completely mood-inspired reads. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and like this video if you enjoyed it and if you would like to see more. And I will be back very soon with the next video. Bye guys!